All right, hi, this is Paul Slakis, Good News Planet here with historian turned critically acclaimed novelist. We released a suspenseful mystery thriller featuring a strong female detective that's set in Mexico. Murder at the Olympiad, I think is what it's called. Is that right, James? Gilbert?
Yes, that's right.
All right, I'm doing good so far. All right. And a historian needs to make sure that I'm doing good. How does a historian actually make decisions on whether what has been written actually is so or not so? Because I know in communications business that I'm in, you could take 50 different newspapers and they have a different take on every story. You tell me.
Well, you have to do a lot of research. Looking at newspaper articles and one document after another, you finally build up what might be an acceptable truth, but it's always tentative, and you're always changing your mind. So one of the great things about history is that it's a process. It's ongoing, and we always change our minds.
All righty. Okay. But now there's a story that is set. Actually, it's a murder mystery. We don't like this murder word. It's not.
Well, that's a little different. That's a bit different. Yes.
Probably though still kind of a questionable scenario. Is this book written about some situation that occurred in Mexico?
No, it's entirely imaginary. Although I know the area very well because I've taken a number of vacations in that city. It's Puerto Vallarta, which
why don't you pick a lousy city?
Well, that's not a lousy city.
I know that.
But it's a really interesting city. It's got three very distinct parts. It's got a lot of high-rise Marriott hotel sort of places with swimming pools and gated communities and so forth for timeshare. And I think a lot of elderly Americans go down and have a vacation there. And then it's got a very old city, which is the original city. And it's cobblestones and little houses and little stores and some restaurants. And then there's a third part, which is called the Zona Romantica, which is kind of the trendy part. And there are a lot of American expats who live there, and young people, and it's a place to go to have fun. And so it's a really interesting city because you've got these three places, and my story takes place in all three places.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. I'll be frank with you. My aunt and uncle used to vacation there when it was a little bit of probably the old portion of it 50 plus years ago. And they would then show us slides. This was the days of slides and a carousel. And we go in the basement and they would show us all the places that they went. That was then. Now I got a buddy who's been there 3 times. I haven't been there. And all he does is rave. Every time he says, I want to go somewhere, I want to go there. And it's another, and now it's what you're talking about. All right. So now tell us about your book and why did you write this book?
Well, it features a woman detective, and she is she's all by herself. She's the American consul in that city, and the council does a lot of different things. I didn't used to know this, but I worked one summer for the State Department, and I got to know what all the State Department officials did. And the council, a single council, it has to deal with a myriad of problems: lost visas, lost credit cards, lost passports, robberies, people who get into trouble. She has to deal with all the things that Americans do, and in a vacation place, they do a lot. So her hands are full, and when a young American is murdered in a sauna in the Zona Romantica, the third part of the city, when this young man is killed, she has to deal with the parents, and she begins to doubt that the police are really going to try to solve this case, and so she tries to do it herself.
Yeah, but
and so she visits a lot of different people in the city, and a lot of interesting characters, and finally she does solve the case.
did you think of this while you were in a sauna?
No, I didn't think of that. I actually went by this sauna. There is such a place. That's not the name, but I went by it and I thought, oh my goodness, wouldn't it be great to put a murder there?
What do you mean you went by a sauna? So
I was walking. I was just walking it's in the middle of the Zona Romantica, and I just walked by it, and I realized what it was, and I thought, oh, let's have a murder there. And
so this is not a true story. This is your
No,
imagination story.
not at all.
So-
Not at all.
So I don't know if I would sleep over your house, but the point is, with an imagination, well, what's the purpose of this book, would you say?
Well, actually, I think the purpose is to reveal the kind of world, the kind of underworld that exists in Puerto Vallarta, and it's also a little bit about the police, the Mexican police. Now, I don't have any experience with the Mexican police, so it's all imaginary. But I imagine that they're not very efficient, and that they are not terribly interested in solving a murder. And it's also about being a diplomat, which I do know a lot about. My detective, the American consul, has a lot of trouble with the American ambassador, who doesn't want to solve the case either. He doesn't want any trouble. And I think I understand why he doesn't want that. And so she plows ahead, solves the case anyway, much to everybody's surprise.
Well, why do you think that the American ambassador, this imaginary American ambassador, does not want to rock the boat?
Well, in the story, the Mexican police arrest a young Mexican boy, and my detective knows he's not guilty. She thinks it's an American who did it, and so the ambassador says, "Well, just don't rock the boat. They've got their murderer. Don't interfere. Don't make problems." But she does make problems, and you can understand why an ambassador would do that. He doesn't want the Mexican government to be upset. He doesn't want American newspapers to be writing about this, and so he chooses the easy way out. And I think that's what a lot of ambassadors would instinctively do.
Oh boy. Okay. Wow, you got your hands full here. Do I hear a phone from the ambassador of the United States behind you ringing? No. James, what are you talking about? All right, so well, that's great. Well, congratulations to you. You've done very well with your writing. Previously, we actually interviewed you. This was a funny story, something with the word Egypt. Do you recollect something with the word Egypt? Or do I have this wrong?
I'm sorry.
Did you write a book that had the word Egypt in it?
Oh, yes, indeed. Tales of Little Egypt.
Uh-huh. So I had, I don't know if
Completely different, absolutely fundamentally different.
I don't know if you remember, but at that time I had an intern from Egypt
Oh
working,
my.
and I told him, this is going to be your big opportunity to be part of an interview, because this book is about Egypt. This is before I knew that the book was something about that place of Little Egypt in America, right? Wasn't it?
Southern Illinois. Yes, Southern Illinois.
So you ruined this intern's. I ruined this intern's career as a host because the book really wasn't in Egypt. And
He would have been surprised.
anything else you want to tell us about the book?
About that book?
About your book, this most recent one, Olympiad. Why do you use that word Olympiad? Do I say that word correctly?
That's just the name of the sauna. I invented this. I figured a Greek name.
Sauna.
Yeah.
All righty. And so anything else you'd like to share with about a book, about this particular book, where they can get it, or any other thing that you're excited about for someone to read it?
Well, I will say this is the second book in a series. There will be three books that feature the same American detective in Puerto Vallarta, and it seems that the bodies are piling up in that little town. But there's a third and a fourth murder actually in the third installment that hasn't been published yet. But so this is a series, and a lot of it is about this main character. I became very interested in her, wholly imaginary person, but it's a lot of fun to create a character and then see how they act and follow them, and they become very real to you. And so what I hope is that readers will really share my feeling that this is a very lively and real character.
It sounds like a do-gooder. She's a do-gooder. She wants to get to the bottom and do what's really, really right.
That's it. She's very dogged and persistent. She will not give up. And I got that impression actually when I talked to people in the State Department. A lot of the people who work in the State Department are exactly like that. They're really good people, interesting people. They have an impossible job, but then they persist. And so I got the idea to create a detective who would be employed by the State Department.
All right, Mission Impossible. All right, sounds James Bond thriller here.
Right.
It sounds like a movie, a movie with part 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, maybe more. Congratulations, James. Where can we get the book?
Well, it's on all the online places, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, places of that sort. Or a local bookstore could order it. It's easy to do. Just ask them. And I think there are other online places. I'm not familiar with all the online ordering places, but there are lots of them. So it's very easy to find.
Great. Do you have a website?
I do indeed. It's called James Gilbert Author. That's all one jammed together word, jamesgilbertauthor.com.
All right, James, congratulations. Keep up the good work, and look forward to speaking with you again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.